The good life, full of fun, seems to be the
Hey guys, welcome to my kitchen. Another big exciting day in my kitchen. Where are we going today? I'll tell you where we're going to go today. It's going to be just as exciting, certainly for me, hopefully for you too. I'm going to go to my mom's kitchen. My mom makes one of the best, if not the best, chocolate chip cookie, and I want to bring that recipe to you. It's something that is American, but with my mom and my family, we always put our Italian touch, our Italian flair into a recipe, and that's what I want to bring to you guys today. So in ingredients now, I've got 1 3/4 cup of flour. Now ideally you can use all-purpose flour. Perfect would be a pastry flour. It's going to be finer and it's going to have a lower protein content. So it's going to make the cookies, or ensure the cookies are nice and tender, which will be fantastic, okay? We've got 3 eggs, room temperature. You can see them sweating here. We're going to do 3 eggs. Technically, we're going to use 1 whole egg and 2 egg yolks. So just to repeat so there's no confusion, 1 whole egg, and then we're going to take the yolk of 2 eggs, okay? We've got 3/4 cup of brown sugar, ideally dark brown sugar. Now why? Brown sugar is going to give you that molasses, so it's going to give you a deepened, richer flavor within the cookie, and then we're going to use 1/2 cup of granulated white sugar, okay? Now we're going to throw in a little Italian kick here. I've got 2 tablespoons of mascarpone cheese. Okay? So we're going to throw that cheese in there, and that's going to add a certain richness, a different texture, that tender, gooey, chewy on the inside. That's what Mama does, okay? Now I've got something kind of special here. I've got some flaked sea salt. We're going to use 1 teaspoon of sea salt from Sicily. Now if you can't do that, you can use pink Himalayan because it's sexy. You can use some gray sea salt. It's a little bit brinier. But today we're going to Sicily and we're going to use some flaky sea salt, or you can use some sea salt, which is fine. We've got 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Ideally get the whole stuff, the real stuff. Don't want to skimp on the quality of vanilla. It really makes a significant difference in all your baking. So I want to plead with you on that. Another kick from Italy here. Nutmeg, I mean, one of the greatest things. If you can, just get the nut, which is what I did, and grind it down. Get 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. Couple more things here. We've got 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, and we've got 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. And let me tell you why we're doing both. Baking soda tends to enlarge something almost like laterally. It almost enlarges, causes it to spread. And powder is going to be a leavening agent for the most part. So it's going to, even though they're both classified as that, but powder is going to give you that cakey feel. So with the cookie, you want the outside to be crisp, and then you want the inside to be tender and gooey. So this is going to ensure that it spreads just enough, but gives you enough lift, give you something to bite in. Next we got butter. We got 14 tablespoons of butter. Again, try to keep everything room temp, so I've had this out for a little bit. Center stage, I mean, they're chocolate chip cookies, so chocolate chip. Here it is, the guy in the marquee right there. So we've got about 1.5 cups of chocolate chips. Now chocolate chips, again, you can use the traditional type in the store, which is great. My advice to you is, certainly if it's one of those special occasions, up your price tag a little bit and go for a higher quality chocolate chip. It gives you that semi-sweet, so it's sweet and bitter, if you will, and it's going to have a higher content of cocoa butter. And again, that's the fatty part, but it's also the part that's rich in flavor, and it holds up really well with the heat, but it also adds a deepened flavor to your cookie that you can't mirror. Now, I'm going to use some nuts. So some people, I got one person in my house who's a piaga, you know what I'm saying? A little bit of picky, okay? But, so some people don't like nuts in their cookies, and some people do. So if you don't like nuts, by all means, don't use them. I think walnuts go great. Hazelnuts are fantastic. Pecans are great. Almonds are good. So if you like that nut, you can do a mixture of the two. I think walnuts just go fantastic. If you love them, pop in, about 1/2 cup to 3/4 cup of chopped nuts. And then lastly, we've got olive oil. Now, unfortunately, there's no olive oil in this recipe, okay? But if there was to be olive oil in this recipe, you'd want to use the best olive oil in the world, and that's Vito and Joe. So I've got a farm in Puglia. It's just above the heel. and it's on the East Coast. It overlooks the Adriatic Sea, and it's just fantastic. And it's on the rolling hills of a little village called Vico del Gargano, and we make our own olive oil. So we work with a group of farms to bring in what I consider to be the best olive oil you'll ever have. It's extra virgin Italian olive oil. It's all Italian olives, and they're pressed. And we ship it right here in the United States, and we'd love to share that with you. So go right to my Facebook page, Cooking Italian with Joe. There's a buy it now. Or you can go right on our website, cookingatalianwithjoe.com, and you'll see a buy it now, and we'll actually drop ship it right to your house in a matter of a few days, okay? And I call it a trip to Italy right in a bottle. Now, tip number one, we're gonna wanna do what we call cream the eggs, the butter, and the sugar, okay? So we're gonna cream them. Now, often you'll take the eggs and the sugar, or you'll take the butter and the sugar, and that process, when you whip it together, you're gonna fold in a little air, but it almost incorporates it into a creamy substance, hence why they call it creaming, okay? But in this case, we're gonna do all of them. So what I wanna do though is I wanna take my eggs and my sugar first, and I'm gonna create a cream sensation, and then I'm gonna add my butter and cheese. And the important part of this is you're gonna want the sugar to melt and fully dissolve with everything. So that's why I want to use the sugar and the eggs and the vanilla first. That's going to allow all the granulated sugar, both in the dark brown sugar and the white sugar, when that all melts, it fully incorporates and it changes the cookie. It changes the texture of the cookie, okay? It gives you more of almost a caramelized or a toffee feel or flavor to the cookie. Getting started, I'm going to throw my eggs in there. Now you'll notice I put my eggs in a clear dish when I crack them. That way I can always identify any type of eggshell that got in there, okay? And then I'm gonna do my white sugar, I'm gonna do my brown sugar, and now I'm gonna cream it. So we're gonna let this go on at a higher speed for about 3 to 5 minutes. Guys, it's been a few minutes here, and what you're gonna see how creamy that is? So our next liquid here is gonna be the vanilla, okay? So I'm gonna put the 2 tablespoons in there, start off slow. All right, just to kill a little time while the butter and sugar is melting, I'm gonna go ahead and mix my ingredients. So I'm gonna take a bowl, just to strain everything. I got a strainer. I'm gonna take my flour and my dry ingredients, short of my chips and my walnuts. I'm gonna go ahead and strain everything and get it ready to mix up. So kick your flour in. Again, we got our pastry flour. We're gonna do our salt. We're gonna do our baking soda, baking powder, and our nutmeg. Oh, I love nutmeg. And then just give it a shake. And you just wanna avoid any types of lumps. That's why you're screening it, if you will, or sifting it. Now it's been a couple of minutes so that you know the sugar now is fully dissolved. We're gonna wanna add our butter and our mascarpone cheese, which is gonna be fantastic. A couple of quick tips here to really make this come out great is if you subscribe to our channel. So I've got a red button down here in the corner. When you subscribe to our channel, any new recipes, any new trips, travel advice, I go to Italy often, anything new going on with Cooking Italian with Joe, it actually comes right in your notification box. And I'll tell you, it really means a lot to me when you subscribe to our channel. It makes you part of the family. You know what I'm saying? The other tip is you gotta go online and grab yourself a bottle of Cooking Italian with Joe. I know it's a shameless plug, but I'm just telling you, it's one of the best real extra virgin olive oils you'll ever have. It's fantastic. Molto buono. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and we wanna add our butter and our cheese in here. Mascarpone cheese, and that's about room temp is what we're shooting for. And I'm gonna throw in all my butter. And we're gonna get that on a slow mixer for a minute to get it fully incorporated. All right, guys, it's been about 3 to 5 minutes. See how beautiful that is? It's almost like a frosting, like a buttercream frosting. Essentially, that's really what it is. All right, so now we're gonna add the buttercream, if you will, with our eggs and sugar. We're gonna add that to our flour. We're gonna do it slowly, and I don't wanna do it in the mixer, and I'll tell you why. You wanna really handle this as little as possible because you don't want gluten to start building up, and the problem with that is going to make the cookie tough. So really at this point you want to handle it as little as you possibly can to make sure the cookie comes out light, crumbly, beautiful, gooey, chewy on the inside, crispy on the outside with all that chocolate, but you don't want it to be like a bread. So we're just gonna go ahead and put it in. Now with a nice slow stir, like magic, right? Look at that, isn't that beautiful? Now when you're done mixing it, let it set for, 5 or 6 minutes. Let the moisture hydrate your flour. That's always gonna give you a better lift, okay? And then once those few minutes have gone by, take your nuts, if you're adding nuts. If you don't like them, don't add them. And then your chocolate chips, yum yum. And then you're just gonna give it a nice easy spin here. And once you're fully mixed, we're gonna start making some cookies. All right, now another really important tip, which doesn't include subscribing, which hopefully you have, and doesn't include grabbing a bottle of olive oil, which hopefully you've already done. but it does include how to prep this cookie dough. We're looking for about 3 tablespoons, give or take, and this will give you like a heap out of this will give you about 3 tablespoons, perfect size. So we're gonna take a bunch of these and put them as many as we can on a cookie sheet with some parchment paper. And then we're gonna throw it in the refrigerator or the freezer. Refrigerator about an hour, freezer about 30 minutes. And what that's gonna do is gonna bring everything up to temp or down to temp, and it's gonna get everything real consistent. So you're gonna start off with something just like that, okay? And don't worry about making it a ball, because we can do that after it freezes. And then you're just gonna take it and you're gonna pop it right here on your cookie sheet. All right, we got a couple things going on here. First off, don't worry about the disaster, it's meaningless. We're gonna throw it right in the freezer, 30, 40 minutes, and when they come out nice and firm, we'll roll them up, we'll put them on the tray, start cooking, perfect. Secondly, what I need to do is I gotta clean up this bowl and I need to taste the raw cookie dough. I'm just saying, it's what you have to do as the chef if you're making cookies. All right, guys, it's been about 40 minutes. That's what it's gonna look like. It's perfect. We're gonna roll those. So real simple, grab it, give it a nice roll, perfect. Pop that on there, and you're gonna want about 2.5 inches per cookie. All right, this group I'm gonna put back in the refrigerator, not the freezer, okay, because I don't want to freeze them. And then this group right here, I'm gonna throw right in the oven. Remember guys, 375 middle rack, I'm gonna pop that right in there, right in the center. And then, cookie saver is what this is called. It's not a timer, it's a cookie saver. So we're gonna go about 10, 15 minutes, but I'm gonna go 7 minutes, because I'm gonna wanna turn that inside your oven. All right guys, look at that, huh? Woo! I let them cool on a rack, we're ready to go. I've got a glass of milk, which is the necessary equipment to properly enjoy a chocolate chip cookie. Okay, especially cooking in Italian with Joe style, all right? So here we go. So I've got just a beautiful setup here. I got a whole crew of the football team, Casanova football team, ready to chop on these puppies. This is my favorite one. Now this is still a little warm, all right? I like them warm and gooey though. I'm just gonna say, I mean, that's when I like them the most, all right? And you're gonna see here, you see it's just crispy on the outside, and it's just perfectly gooey on the inside. I mean, it's just gonna be absolutely perfect. Don't you wish I could just give you a piece of that right now? All right, chocolate chip chewy time. First off, the smell is absolutely perfect. You can smell the cream, the butter, the vanilla, the sugar, the chocolate. And we got those I love nuts, so if you don't like the nuts, don't put them in. Look at that. It's still warm. That. Hold it, halfway done with the cookie. Technically, it's halfway done with the cookie, that milk. And you got you know, as it comes down, you got the chocolate and the sugar, the brown sugar, the butter, and that mascarpone cheese just, it gives you that creamy texture that you normally don't get in a cookie. It's just fantastic. Truly the best recipe you're ever gonna have in chocolate chip cookies. It's certainly cooking Italian with Joe style. I mean, let's be honest, okay? Guys, thanks so much for joining me. And remember guys, hit the subscribe button right down there. I'd like to have you part of the family. You go right online, you grab yourself a bottle of Vito and Joe's Italian olive oil, either on my Facebook or Cooking Italian with Joe website. Drop ship it, trip to Italy right in the bottle. And guys, remember, shut off the cell phone, even if for an hour or two, you know what I mean? And shut off the computer and shut off the TV. And, you know, get around the table like we did here today, you know, with the kids and make a mess and tell stories and celebrate your heritage and set some traditions. Certainly they'll last you a lifetime. I know they did for me. It was great fun with you guys in the kitchen today. Until next week, buon appetito.
A good life, full of fun, seems